Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today I'm very excited to share another advice video with you guys. Today I will be covering 15 factors to help you decide on a college to apply to or to attend. So whether you're in high school and you're thinking about colleges, maybe you're thinking about applying to college even as an adult, or maybe you're a college student thinking about applying to grad school. I wanted to cover different factors that will help you make a decision that will affect you for 4 years down the line. If you don't know who I am, I graduated in May 2020 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics, but no. When I was a high school senior, I did not know what I wanted to do. I did not know how to apply for college. I did not know where I wanted to go to college. I actually didn't decide on the college that I chose until I believe a week and a half before the deadline was written. So yes, it can be stressful, but there are ways that we can plan, prepare, and be ready for that decision. And I hope that this video can help you with that decision. So with that, let's get into the video. The first factor you should consider is location. So I know for me, something that was already right off the bat was good weather. I grew up living in a hot climate in Arizona, and I was not going to go to the East Coast and suffer in wet, cold, or snow. Keep that in mind when you're applying to college. Do you want to see seasons change? Do you not want to see seasons change? Also with location, consider whether your school is in an urban area, is it in a city, is it in the middle of nowhere. So think about what kind of things are around your school, and you can consider, okay, if I want to stay on campus most of the time, then it might not matter if your school is in the middle of nowhere. But if you don't want to stay on campus all the time, it might be helpful for your college to be around other things. Maybe it could be in a city, or it could be around different businesses so that you could work and do school at the same time. So location was definitely a driving factor for me when I picked a college, so that's why I ranked it number 1. The second factor to consider is accreditation. So you need to consider, is your school accredited or is it not? Some colleges are accredited, a lot of the bigger schools are, and the ones that will take lots of your money, they'll be accredited, and maybe some of the other lesser known schools won't be. And there's pros and cons to both. I will say I'm very happy that I went with an accredited school. If your school or program is not accredited, later on when you graduate, you may have to take further exams to make sure that your credentials are seen as legitimate everywhere in the United States. So keep that in mind. Factor number 3 is academic majors available. So this is more for the people that already know what they want to do. And believe me, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do yet. I did not know my major, and I did not have to declare my major until the second semester of my sophomore year in college. So you definitely have time, and you don't need to stress about it yet. But for example, I grew up watching the show Bones, and in it there's a forensic anthropologist, and at some point in my life I thought I was gonna be, a forensic anthropologist, which is a very niche job. So very few schools have a forensic anthropology course, let alone a degree in that specific area. So if you do know what you want to do, and it might be kind of like a niche program, then you need to pick the schools that will have that. Otherwise, you may be disappointed if you choose a school that doesn't have the major or program that you are hoping to study. Factor number 4, and this one the parents will thank me for, is affordable cost of attendance. So what is the tuition, room and board, and do they offer good scholarships, and do they take financial aid? So you can think about this like you can weigh the factors of private school versus public school. Maybe you will get more aid for public school. I'm not trying to scare you away from applying to or attending the college of your dreams just because it may have a very expensive price tag, but I will say that if you expect your parents to pay for a certain amount, you should have a conversation with them so that you understand and you have a agreement on how much they're going to help you with college, and maybe, you know, they'll help you some and then you'll have to take loans to do the rest. Maybe you'll have to pay for it all on your own. Schools will offer scholarships, financial aid, and then they also do work-study programs. You can also look into the ROTC program if you want to pay for college that way. And so there's different options, and I recommend that you explore them before deciding on which college you will pay money to for the next 4 years. Factor number 5 is safety. So the parents will thank me for this one again, but it's really important that you go to a school that is safe and secure. You don't want to deal with break-ins as a student. You don't want to deal with assaults or anything like that. And so I wanted to mention that safety and safety statistics are something you should research and consider. Factor number 6 is admission rate. So this one applies more for if you're just thinking about a college and whether you're going to spend the money on an application and go through with applying to it. So I don't think admission rate should ever deter you from living your dreams, but I would say that if your #1 school is an Ivy League, maybe apply to more than just that school, because you don't want the worst thing to happen, which is you only apply to one school and you don't get in. So I would say consider admission rate, and if you want to apply to the big schools, that's great, but also apply to 2 to 3 other schools with a more generous admission rate. And a lot of times you can see on your college's website, you can see, okay, what is the average SAT score of who gets in? What is the average ACT score of who gets in? What's the average GPA of who gets in? And so you can see where you kind of rank, and then that can help you decide on a college and give you a better chance of getting into that college. Factor number 7 is size of the school. So for me, it was important that the student to faculty ratio was to my liking. Coming from high school, I think I had the biggest class I ever had was 30 to 40 students to one professor, but usually it was 20 to 30 students, and I found that that really worked well for me. And the thought of going to college and taking the general courses in your first or second year with, you know, some of these big state schools, it might be one professor in a lecture hall of 200 or 300 students, and I did not want to go through with that. And so for me, I thought it would be a good idea to apply to a smaller size school, and so that was important to me. Now, there are other perks. There's always pros and cons to everything. So with that size, you can think about, okay, with a lot of students and a lot of faculty, they may end up having more courses offered more of the time. So with my small school, sometimes courses weren't offered every semester. Sometimes they weren't offered every year. And so a lot more planning had to be done for me to complete my degrees. But again, there's pros and cons to everything, so just think about how size may affect your decision. Factor number 8 is demographics and diversity. So this is more a personal preference, whether you want to be surrounded by people of different cultural backgrounds or if you want to be surrounded by people that are your similar background. So go on your campus's website and you can look up the diversity and see what it's like. And I know a lot of other websites will compare that as well. So if you can't find it on your school's website, you can search it on the internet and it will give you some crucial information on their diversity. Factor number 9 is religious affiliation. I know a lot of my friends from high school felt it was important to them to go to a religiously affiliated school, and in that particular case, the religious affiliation was integrated into different things the school did, like, for example, saying a prayer before a sports event. And for other schools that do have a religious affiliation, sometimes it's not so much integrated into the actual school. So I would say do a little research, and if that seems important to you or if it doesn't seem important to you, just know that that might apply for a specific school. Factor number 10 is on-campus facilities and amenities. So for me, I wanted the full college experience, and I knew I was going to be living on campus for at least 2 years. Now, for some people, they want to do working and college at the same time, in which case they could stay living at home or they could have their own apartment if they can afford that. So for me, it was important that my school had proper living facilities that weren't like infested with rats or something crazy, and that there was a lot of options for food. If you're someone who has dietary restrictions, you should make sure that your school can accommodate for that. Or if you're someone that has particular food preferences, you can look into that. And I'd say if you want to get the most out of your living and your food and even transport too. So with your school, if it's a very large campus, do they have a tram system to help students get from one end of campus to the other? Or is it more like you have to get a bike and do it on your own? You know, you can see, do most of the students have their own car, or are they fine without a car? I went all 4 years of college without a car, and I saved a lot of money, and that was the right decision for me. So I would consider your living amenities and options, facilities for food when applying to college. Factor number 11, which is a very fun factor, is the extracurricular activities that your school provides. So for me, I was involved in many different organizations. I actually have a video on it if you want to check it out, but there's some organizations that are specific to your school, and then there might be ones that are national organizations which have a chapter at your school. For example, some people may be interested in Greek life, and in Greek life there are national organization standards, and then there are chapters at different schools. So you can look, is Greek life a big thing at that particular school, or is it not? And you can see if that's important to you. I know for me, there's always Society of Women Engineers, and there's Association for Computing Machinery, which is Computer Science Club, and those kinds of things felt more with my interests, and I'm very glad that my school had them. So definitely consider which clubs you want to possibly pursue and join, and you can look those up on your school's website, and if they're not there, there's possibility that they may have social media outlets for it. So I know for me, the dance organization I was involved with did have an Instagram, and so that was helpful to see different students and see what the organization was all about. So I would utilize social media to find those clubs and activities. And I forgot to say, but also intramural sports, if those are important to you, you can look those up on your school's website as well. Factor number 12 is sports participation and school spirit. So if you're someone whose school spirit doesn't matter at all, then forget this one. But if you do like school spirit, if you like the excitement behind football games, then you want to choose a school that has students going to football games. Right now, obviously, things are online, but hopefully in the next 4 years, they'll go back to semi-normal where students will be able to participate and show their school spirit. And for you guys, if that's important to you, please consider that. Factor number 13 is study abroad opportunities. Now for me, I never knew if I wanted to study abroad or not, but later in school, I was given the opportunity to do an intersession in Florence, and so I'm very happy that I was able to do that. And I was able to do that because my school does study abroad in a very easy, planned kind of a way. And so if that's important to you, I would just make sure that your school has opportunities for that and look into that. Factor number 14 is career services. So you should look into whether your school has a lot of the students go on to get jobs, or maybe they don't. And you can find that information out online. You can also find out if your school has a career center where students get one-on-one career advising with a career counselor. I'm very fortunate that both of the colleges that I have experience with do have those services, and I've been able to form really strong relationships with my career counselors, and they've helped me, get through interviews and get opportunities to meet and network with people. Another thing is alumni network. So some schools are very active and stay connected with the alumni once people graduate, and that can help you get jobs because connections will, help you when you are wondering what kind of job you want to do or where you want to work. It's always helpful to know someone who works there. I know for me, even just belonging to certain women orgs like National Center for Women in Information Technology, those kinds of things can also help you with jobs. So that kind of leads back to the orgs to join in college. And so it all kind of formulates to help you be successful after college, and you want to have a successful career, so it's definitely helpful to consider the career services. The last factor, factor number 15, is do you feel at home in this college? So for me, for my high school year, about to decide on my college, I was happy enough to go and tour the campus that I decided on, and that is what swayed me to pick that college. I felt that I loved the buildings, I loved the architecture, I loved the atmosphere and the people. They all seemed happy and motivated and driven and a lot different from where I went to high school, so that was really appealing to me. Now, for my graduate school, I had to apply and pick it during, the times of being online with a disease rampant throughout the world. So I wasn't able to tour in person, and so I had to do my research online, and I looked up pictures and images of the buildings. I was able to connect to faculty and ask them about, my passions and tell them what kind of goals I had for the next 4 years, and they were able to partner me with a professor who shared similar goals. And so I'm really happy that I feel like my future is in line with where I ended up. So even if you can't tour in person, you have to think, can I see myself in 4 years? Would I be excited to be here for each of those 4 years? And that will help you choose the right college, which will become your home. That concludes this video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that some of these factors will help you decide on which colleges to apply to or to attend. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're curious about my makeup look, I will be posting it on Tuesday in a video, and also today that this video is posting for you guys is my birthday, and so I'm happily celebrating, especially because the day after I have a final exam. So that will go hopefully well. Cheer me on, pray for me. I'll probably need it, but I am just very happy that we are in December, and I hope that I can share more advice videos with you guys and help you guys out. So thank you so much again, and I will see you very soon.